In this video, I'm going to give you a basic overview of Postman, which should be enough for us to get started. But Postman has many more good features which I might not cover in this video. So as you work on your API, click around and try different things and see how they work, and you will eventually discover all the nice things that Postman has. So when you start your Postman, this will be the main work area. On the left side, you'll have two tabs, History and Collections. History will record everything that you do, and Collections will help you organize your HTTP requests into folders. And here you'll have three more tabs, all, me, and the team. On the right side, you have the tabs area where you can start a new tabs where you can work on different HTTP requests. And the structure of this tab is basically you select HTTP method, and then you provide request URL, you provide some of the parameters and headers, and then once you send the request, here you will see the response. So before you start working on your API, I advise you or encourage you to sign in. If you don't have an account, you create one. Why this is helpful is because once you have an account, everything that you do is recorded, and then you can log out and go to a different computer, for example, your home office or your office at work, and then you sign in, and your environment, all the HTTP requests that you have created, they will be synced back and restored on a new computer. So this is very convenient. For example, I will sign in now with my Google account. I will allow Postman to have access, and right now it's connecting, and it will sync and bring back some of the collections that I have, and they will appear here on the left side. So if I switch to history, I'll see some of the recent HTTP requests that I have tried, and here on the collection, right now I'm on the Teams tab, which does not have anything. But if I switch to me, here I have a few collections, and you can click on collection to expand. For example, Postman Echo is one of the collections that is shipped together with the Postman. I did not create this collection. So let's try sending a couple of HTTP requests. For example, I'll select request methods here, and here I have different HTTP requests: get, post, put, patch, and delete. I'll select first one, get request, and it was opened in a new tab. If I wanted to open a new HTTP request in a different tab, I will first start a tab, and then I'll click on HTTP request to load in a new tab, and then I can quickly switch between tabs. I'll close this one for a while. So here I have get HTTP request, and I could choose a different HTTP method, but we're going to continue with get, and here we have a request URL with some of the parameters passed through the query string. Now this is traditional way of passing parameters. In this course we're going to design RESTful API. We're not going to use query string, but these parameters you can always try and experiment and use query string, of course. If you click on this params button, it will open up a panel where you can add more parameters. For example, if I wanted to add new request parameters, I can type here name, and then it adds it immediately to query string, and then value, for example, Sergey, and you see it added ampersand and then name equals Sergey, and then I can add email, and it continues to build query string, and I can delete parameters, or I can reorder them, for example, if I needed to, and so on. This button is basically allows us to execute this HTTP request, but if you wanted to send HTTP request and download results, we could use this one. If we save this HTTP request, it will invite us to create a new collection. So for example, I can save as, or because this one is existing, if I click on save, it will overwrite the existing request. But if I save as, it will open this panel where I can choose request name. For example, I'll choose test, and then which collection folder I would like to store it. I can select one of the existing ones, or I can create a new one, for example, test. And then I click on save, and here I have a new collection with only one HTTP request created. Okay, so to send this HTTP request, I simply click on send button, And we have now, let's hide parameters. Here below we have the response panel, and response panel contains also a few tabs. The very first one is body, and then we have cookies and headers and so on. So body shows us the response, the main body of the response, but there's some other very useful information like status. If you move mouse over the status, it shows you the description of the status. For example, 200 is okay, and you read the description of what 200 is, and then time it took for this HTTP request to execute, and then breakdown of the response size, how much bytes we have, the body and the headers. Here we basically are offered different ways of previewing information that we have received. Pretty one, for example, this one is content type of this response is JSON, and this nicely formatted for us in JSON, but we could look at the raw HTTP body of this request or preview of this. Another very useful feature in this area is the code link here. So if you click on this, it brings up a window which contains different code snippets. For example, the curl is my favorite. If I wanted to have a code snippet in PHP using HTTP request, I select that code snippet, and here I have ready to use PHP code. Or if I wanted to know how to send this HTTP request using Swift, a new programming language from Apple, I select this option, and I have an example of how to execute this HTTP request that I've created in Swift language. Or if I wanted it to have in Java, here's the Java code. So this is an awesome feature that Postman offers. So if I, for example, select curl, then I can copy this HTTP request and I can run it from the terminal window. So I paste it here and I hit enter, and here we have the HTTP request, and I can copy this value and send to my developer, a friend who can also test it on his computer. So curl is very convenient. So this one was HTTP GET, but we can select another one, for example, HTTP POST. And HTTP POST a bit different from GET. When we are sending HTTP POST request, but we don't pass parameters in a query string like this. Name, let me type name equals Sergey. We don't do that with HTTP request. We usually send HTTP POST request through the body. So I will select body, and here I can send a plain text, or I can choose, for example, form data, and here provide key value parameters. Name equals Sergey. But this particular example of HTTP POST request is using raw body, which is sending plain text, and let us send this request. But before I do, let me show you another very nice feature that Postman has, and it is called console. Show Postman console. So if I open up Postman console, I will be able to see more details about HTTP request and response. So let me send this, and once I get a response here, I can switch back to console and expand it a little bit here, and click on the entry here, and I can see HTTP headers in details, and then I can see response headers in details, and here we have the body of the response and the body of the request. So very convenient feature the console is. And once you've finished working, you can sign out of your account, and it warns you that once you sign out, the data will be removed. So don't worry, you can sign out and close everything, and once you sign in again on a different computer or on the same computer, this data is going to come back and synced back to your computer. So if I sign in again with my account and wait for a few seconds for Postman to sync, I will switch to collections. Here we have, this is the test collection, and this is the test HTTP request. But of course, if you make some changes to your HTTP request and then you don't save it and sign out, your changes will not be saved. So if you made some significant changes to your HTTP request, make sure you save your changes before signing out or closing Postman. Otherwise, your changes will not be saved. And I'll give you an example. For example, let's say you have HTTP post request here to create a new user profile. And usually when we send HTTP post request, we send a JSON payload with this HTTP request, and JSON payload may contain many fields. So if you made a change in this field and then close program or sign out without saving, without clicking on the save button, you will lose the change. So make sure you save before you close the Postman. And this is it for this short introduction to Postman. Of course, Postman has many more nice features, but these features that I have introduced you in this video will be the most commonly used in this video course as we work on designing our RESTful API.